Hey there folks, and welcome to the next 130 mile per hour tryouts. In this tryouts I am doing the Fiat 500F 1968. So here's the parts that you can do to the Fiat 500F 1968, which is a whole lot because yeah, this car technically needs a whole lot anyways because initially it has only 14 plus horsepower. That's basically it when it came initially when you get this car. Making this technically one of the slowest cars you could drive in Gran Turismo 7. Technically. I say technically loosely because once you up it, it's faster than the i3. So because yeah, just to say, in case you're wondering, if you want to know the slowest car you could technically drive in terms of top speed reasons, I would say the i3 would be the slowest car. The 500F is not the slowest car if you tune it, because if you turn around and tune this, you get about almost 100 horsepower out of this little car at the end of the day. And a reminder, it's only 14 horsepower, so you did not only you tuned it to 9 to 10 times the amount and such. So it's pretty crazy for that amount, I will say. Better to say, it has technically a inline 2, so it's not a bike motor, but boy does it sure sound like one, I gotta say. But then again, for a motor that small, holy crap, I must say. So here's the things you can do to it. You can wide body it, you can also engine swap it too, and the engine swap is funny enough a bike motor, which is a 2.4 motor from Honda. So you can add the bike concept cars motor into this. And it's insane, I'll just say that much, it's pretty good. Now for the parts, you can basically change the rims as thing goes, which wears only 12 inches, that is very small, gotta say. But then again, the Fiat is a microcar, so just to say. It's a classic microcar, which yeah, I was very confused about this, but I don't know if this is because of these specific rims or not. I just know when I was trying to change the offset, for some reason it stayed on wide. So sorry if the performance has invalidated this car at the end of the day, but I didn't realize that till now. So if it has to be like that, it just has to be like that. If you wear these specific rims for some reason, because yeah, for some reason it's strangely wide. I don't know why. I had to rechange the color too, but it's fine anyways. But to say though, you can change the front, add a skirt in the front. You can also add the spoiler on top there, because yeah, initially it doesn't have that spoiler either. If you want it. And then it also has hood pins, as the thing goes, and a tow hook in case you want to tow it. You can't tow stuff in this game. I just don't know why. I don't know why. What's with the tow hook sometimes. But yeah, you can also change, of course, the license plate. See where it's at. Which is mostly be in that front bumper. I'm surprised you can't take those front bumpers off. Have all the options. Usually a lot of cars with those bumpers, you usually take them off. But not this one. This one just has it right on it. This thing goes. And then you can also change the brake calipers, of course. Give it some blacks. Thought about doing greens, but nah, those greens ain't right. They're like an olive green and not bluish green. But that's about it for the parts, so to say. Now for the tuning, this is where we get very interesting, I'll just say, because you have to do a lot of adjustments for this car because of it being a rear drive, and I'm gonna guess because of the fact that the motor is more of a block than a flat box, you're gonna have a lot of problems with the car swinging and being so loose. So just a heads up in advance, this car is very loose in regards. Even with as much as I tweaked it. Then again, I'm not surprised. This is a very unstable car. Once you start putting horsepower in this entirely, it goes insane. Concern, if you don't know about the cousin of the 500F, there's the 595 one. That one can have the Civic motor. Do not put the Civic motor in it. I'll just say that, because unless you want a car that does not control whatsoever, basically, Other to say, the 500F took a little bit of adjustments to get together at the end of the day, but overall it got me a good time, and I'd say it's kind of firm a little bit, but it will loose itself out every now and then. So beware when driving this car entirely, I will say. Here's the vinyl, in case anyone wants this vinyl and stuff. It's pretty nice. It's pretty unique for the most part, because I decided to make it a pizzeria kind of look. So there was the pizza Fiat. So the Fiat 500 is a microcar that Fiat made in mind to its predecessor, which is the Topolino, which, if you don't know, the Topolino is back too as an electric microcar over there too on top of it. In terms of Italy, I gotta say, for the most part, so Italy's known for like very crowded cities, so this car kind of works for that excellent way. Not only that, it works like for other towns too, like France. You are really busy streets where the streets barely even there to begin with, because yeah, there is some streets that just barely are there to begin with. So how big buildings are, because they're usually stories high when it comes over there and such. With some cross country here and there, so. But I would say for a city car, the Fiat 500 works very well for their case. It just kind of reminds me of India too for that with the tuk-tuk, which who knows if we ever get a tuk-tuk. That would be kind of amazing if we do, but that'd be something crazy that branches will have to experiment over. But it would be cool to have every kind of historic car to ever coexist, like the Ford Model T versus the Fiat 500 versus the Volkswagen Beetle versus the oh my god, that'd be one hell of a historic rush, I would say. The tuk-tuk, oh my god, especially. But yeah, in terms of Italians, you have Fiat here, which is in terms of acronym, because Fiat is an acronym, I will say, it's Fabbrica Italiano Automobili, and then the last letter, I can't remember very much for the most part, but I'm trying to remember that part. Technica or something like that, maybe? I can't remember, sadly. But, yeah, basically 4 Italian makers for the most part. Well, technically more than that, but you have the 4 mains, I would say. You have Fiat, you have Ferrari, you have Lamborghini, and then you have Alfa Romeo, and then you have the side ones at this point. You have Lancia, which I'm not going to say Lancia is gone, but for the most part they're trying to come back for what they are. You know, I think they're owned by a Chinese company too as well, so that's the sad part, but they try to recoexist. But overall, the Fiat 500F, I will say, in terms of driving this, is loose as butter. You gotta be careful of pitching it just right and wrong sometimes, because this thing will drift out insane. And I will say, with the bike motor will make sure it will drift out, I will say. But overall, the Fiat 500F is technically not bad. You would think it kind of sucks, but for the time it shows here, 123.2, that's technically not bad in comparison to the Mini Cooper, where the Mini Cooper is better, and you know, the Ford Roadster just eats it whole at the end of the day. But when you compare it to like another microcar that is like the Mini Cooper, though, Mini Cooper hits 123.164, so it is very close to that in terms of times with the Mini Cooper. This is why people mostly address Fiat 500F as the rival to Mini Cooper, even though it really doesn't show at all. When reminder, it's only a 15 horsepower at base, unless you turn around and engine swap it for something that hits at least give it 100 horsepower, I would say. Nothing too crazy, just something that, you know, if by reliability and by faster and by construction, I would say slap in just 100 horsepower. It does not need a crazy motor at all. Stick a small Sylvia motor in it, maybe, I don't know. The thing is, though, I would suggest a flat motor, because if you don't put in a flat motor, this car loses stability like no tomorrow. There's a reason why cars aren't really much RR drivetrains, and that's specifically why, because without a flat motor, the stability goes up the charts. on the weight balance between the car and the motor. The motor will be driving the car around, basically, is what I'm saying. But yeah, 123.173, it almost beat the Mini Cooper. That's very impressive. Now onto the more speed segment, that is the Goodwood's Festival of Speed Old Track, we'll say. But yeah, look how loose does this car give, though, I will say. Because yeah, the great part why I picked Goodwood, because it shows the stability factors when it comes to these cars. Which in the Fiat's 500 case, yeah, be careful ever hitting high speeds with this, because it's like hitting a wind draft while you're trying to turn. It will try to two-leg you. Really bad. But overall, when it comes to the Fiat's speed overall, it hits about like 117, so it's pretty good for the most part. I would give it a 3 to 4 stars for the most part. It's not bad right there alone on the top speed climb. On terms of the climb though, I think from what we saw there, I think it hits about 88 miles per hour on the climb up, which is, in other words, for acceleration wise, that's pretty good. That's also, I would say, a 4-star for that, for the most part, because the Roadster did like 90 on the climb. This did not so bad. Not kind of shocks me a little bit, to be honest. Because as the saying goes, rear-wheel drives are usually not crazy about their top speed either. So yeah, to see the rear car to climb that much on the way up, damn, that's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. For the most part. I mean, it requires a tuned version of the base motor though, because reminder, 15 horsepower to 90 horsepower is a big leap, I gotta say, like 8 times more. And as a result, for top speed, because just to say, top speed wise, with that 15 horsepower, it would have done just 55 miles per hour. It now goes 130, so it's like literally almost 3 times the amount given to it at the end of that. Almost. I will say, I think on max horsepower, you can give it to like 100. So yeah, this will be a one and done for this car's case because it can't go any faster. I will say, I think the other one can, and we'll be seeing that one sometime soon here. Not sure what to do with that one, because yeah, I did a pizzeria for this one. The other one, I'm not really sure what to do besides maybe club car or something. That's what I'm thinking so far. But overall, the Fiat 500 is a very fun car, but also a very risky car. Like, if you do not draw the right way, it will lose itself in the process. So, now, I will say on the turning side, I think turning, I would give it exactly a 3 or 4 for the most part, because it turns good. It's just, the problem is, the stability part is what throws it off really bad, and I tried to fix that as much as I could. I'm not a master at tuning, but I'm hoping I get better as I go about this. There might be one day I may retake and do this again, but for now, as it is, it's in that 131.2 right there, as you see, which is not bad, not crazy. I think the stability's killing it at the end of the day when it comes to that, because in terms of times here, it needs to beat the Mini Cooper, which is a 130.990. So can it pull the mirror? Oh wait, I take that back. I already did the miracle. It did 130.778. Alright, can it beat the Ford Roadster though? Which I say good luck to this because it's a 129.325. Can it beat the Ford Roadster? I'm just gonna say probably not. But we'll see how good it does on this next one. I forgot at one point I pulled a good lap and then had a good lap on top of it. This was that case. Holy crap. It's like, oh, okay, so it just needs to beat the Mini Cooper, which is 130.9. Oh, it did beat the Mini Cooper already, so let's see how much it can do better in that case. Not gonna lie, I did not expect that. Like, holy crap. Like, wait, I did beat it already. And I just got pulled a even better lap. So let's see here, shall we? As you drive along the way. Because, yeah, then again, the Fiat has a better wing compared to the Mini Cooper just a tad. The Mini Cooper just has a better steering because of its FF style. Because, yeah, look how much I can just swing that car in. Good God, there's technically goods about that, but you just have to be careful how risky it is to pay that off at the end of it. This car just loves its diving and swinging is what it tells me. But yeah, 130.645. Yeah, I'd be surprised to beat that for a roadster. I mean, it'll probably most likely be on fuel, because I will say fuel-wise, this car is insane on the fuel size. Because I would say definitely better than Mini Cooper's case. It's just, with that stability and stuff, it's going to cost in a big factor in the long run on the tires department. Yeah, now on to Tsukuba, which as you can see, the go-kart's after me. You won't be after me for long. But yeah, it just tells you that turning-wise, it's not the greatest. As you have to deal with dips left and right, and you know the turns turn on in and such. Overall, not bad. But look at those hops though! Holy crap! I even increased the ride height. It still wants to do that because that is a ride height fault. I will say right there. I believe either ride height or the suspension fault. But basically, that's why the car's bouncing. So it's trying to keep the grip together at the end of the day. But one side wants to hop right bounce more than the other. Cause yeah, that's the whole hop thing. The one thing you need to understand when it comes to suspension ride height is when a car like solely uses its traction, they're hopping. It's hard to tell on a mid-sized car, but you can definitely tell on a small-sized car for sure. I will say on a small-sized car it's not so bad, but on a big-sized car it means a lot. Those guys, but overall on steering, on time-wise, 107.333. I think I take that back on the third. It might be a 3. It might be. Who knows? I usually throw the stats after, so you won't see the stats. So, well, you'll see the stats by now, but you know, stuff like that. I don't want you to wait that long. I want you at least look at the introduction part. I don't want to look at the end part. More power to you if you're watching at this point, and if you're still watching at this point, I thank you very much. Okay. But to say overall for the Fiat 500F, that's a fun car. It's a very fun, unique car. Normally, I mean the shit out of this car because there's usually like this. In Warhammer Vermintide, there's this freaking rat character who tries to grab you, but he always sounds like he's jingling your keys. Always makes me think that rat is a freaking used salesman that wants you to sell his Fiat to you. Hey, come check out this Fiat, man. You want to buy it, right? They're good prices, I know. Oh my god. Me and my buddy always mean the shit out of that character at the end of the day. Just think, he's a used car salesman. Whereas medieval rodent he looks. Turns out he wants to sell you his Fiat. I don't want your damn Fiat. As the saying goes. Yeah, as the saying goes when it comes to these cars, microcars, there is one trend that some of these microcars do follow. They follow like a tubular style. Because at the end of the day, if you look inside, it looks like a tub for a style. Which that is mostly the case what some of these microcars usually look like at the end of the day. At 107.328, that's still a bit slow for the most part. So far that 107.226 great. However, it did better at 107.156. It did a little bit better. Now we're going to the last roundabout of Tsukuba. Tsukuba's so great. Which, to beat the Mini Cooper, it needs to be 106.091. Which I'm just gonna say, if it's only pulling 107.156, I have no hope for that. It needs to like shave a whole second off. And not only that, it needs to shave 1.5 more upon that. Just good god. But then again, I'm not surprised. Like I said, I don't really expect the Fiat 500 to be that great around corners. And it seems, maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, like I said, maybe I'm wrong about the acceleration. It might be just a 3, to be honest. If by Tsukuba it doesn't really pull its weight around very much. But then again, as I said, this is a very loose car. And I'm not surprised, because river drives are usually that case about that. That's why most cars are MRs than RR cars. So, yep, overall, 106.8 1.02. Not bad, but not as crazy as the Mini Cooper. I would say technically on par except for the steering side. Because on speed wise, the Fiat 500 beats it there. Surprisingly. Yeah, here's overall what it could do, which is the 2 Sunday Cups, of course. From Sunday Cup regular to Sunday Cup Classic. And heck, I think you see it. Well, you technically see the 595, but I count that as the Fiat right there. But then you got the European Sunday Cup 400 you could do. Now 500, I judge loosely because as long as it's a turning course, I think you're fine. If it's a big long course, you might be doomed there. Because top speed is a big factor when it comes to the higher ups. And if you just don't have that top speed, I would not recommend doing it. At the end of it. The storage cars, I was going to point that, but it's like, nah, probably not. I probably really shouldn't. For pedestrian cars, case, I probably will be. But here's a high-speed ring in the Tokyo Highway Parade. Probably most likely do as well. You're funny, case, technically. And now onto the race, which the race is, I'm going to say I did cut a portion. But overall, it's a 30-minute race of Nürburgring. Because I decided to take a world tour with this car. There's a bunch of, I want to say pedestrian-based cars right here. They're not mine, but they're random. But I would say for pedestrian cars in the future, these might be the examples here in the future. So heads up to that. Yeah, overall the Fiat 500 can deal with these guys. They can't deal with the higher up ones because yeah, as the saying goes, Nürburgring is a speed course. If you have any high-speed opponents, like, oh, I don't know, the Dino Ferrari, that Ferrari is going to eventually beat you. And especially with the Sophie AI, he's just going to beat the tar out of you at the end of the day. Because then I hard checked this, I tried 2 instances of a race, and at the last second, I feel fucking embarrassed to say this, the goddamn Dino passed me at the near end portion of Nürburgring, like right at the checker flag. I tried to block him, but he dived right by me just right enough to pass me. It's like, oh, I feel so embarrassed. I want revenge, but I can't get that revenge. It's not gonna happen. But yeah, there's one of my embarrassing stories to say. And in another instance, yeah, the Corvette Sting. It's just like, it just tells me any opponent in the front is gonna beat the tar out of you at the end of the day. They're just gonna beat the tar out of you today because it's this weird fairness rubber band this game has. Because if you try to play in some sort of fairness, the game will slap you in the face. I'm not joking about that for some reason. Maybe the recent Gran Turismo update might fix that. Fix an issue I've been noticing, but otherwise it's an issue I always hated. So. But yeah, I got the Alfa Romeo 8C here too, which, oh boy, gotta go old car here. And then in the front we have a Toyota Tundra TRD, which yeah, I'm not gonna be surprised if that runs out of fuel because that's a big freaking truck that has 400 horsepower. So let's see if it survives, shall we? That's as it goes. But yeah, it just safely tells me that if you try to take this against sports on a speed track, don't do it. Just don't do it, man. You're gonna kill yourself in the process. This thing goes. Or be like me and almost win, but the block didn't work. This thing goes. So I tried to block. It's like at that point I had to block it in order to. Otherwise I would have took the footage home that way. But nope, it didn't happen. Nope, and so I got punished. Yeah, we basically got opponents like the Maserati Merak SS. That's a sports car. That's fine because they're vintage sports. They kind of technically hit pedestrian speeds nowadays. If you compare. Then you got the Peugeot RCZ GT line, which is the coupe version of the 306 Peugeot, I believe, or 206. 208, I believe it's called. And you got the Alfa Romeo Gueva Sprints. We got 2 of those. Yeah, I tried to opt out the doubles. They kept trying to pick doubles. So it's like, you know what, screw it. We picked a couple doubles here. There is another set of doubles here. We got the Mercedes Barker. The Chi Chi Bang Bang car, technically. Although I think this is the newer one. It's hard to say. But yeah, you could technically count that as a Choo Choo Bang Bang car. You had the Mazda Demio XD Touring, which I'm surprised how slow that is to the Toyota Prius, because yeah, the Toyota Prius is beating them. And then after this gap, you have the Toyota Sprinter Truno. That's kind of funny, because you have Toyota to Toyota here. Not too far from each other, but I'm not going to be surprised if Sprinter just eventually leaves the Prius at some point. The Sprinter is a legend for a reason, so this thing goes. And then you got two Abarth 500s, so it's like, oh my god. So two of these. Like I said, I tried to opt out the doubles. I kept picking the doubles. And then got the Civic Si Extra. I just hope it'd be kind of cool to add for an update that they minimize that, but you know, it is what it is. If it is what it is, this thing goes. And then you got the Firebird Trans Am. Not surprised, that's a classic sports. Then you got the Skyline Sports for 2000 GTR, and then you got the Fairway Z 432. That's a badass of a sports. And you got the 8C just chugging along, being the big old monster special coupe, which by the way won the Le Mans, by the way. So it is a legend in regards, because it's one of the Le Mans racers of that time. Because they're in 1930s. And you get the Monster Roadster in D. But yeah, that's the older one too. That's the 2015. That's not the 2022. I think we have. That's the 2023 one. Okay. So we have both the Roadsters. We have the Roadster NRA, which I don't know what's different besides, you know, one probably has the infotainment, the other one don't, maybe. Or maybe looks-wise it looks better. I'm not sure. Not really sure, because it was kind of weird that the Miata had a refresh in the midst of it. You know, the refresh doesn't look like it changed very much, because then the lights look the same at the end of it and stuff. Yeah, now just chasing out the Poacher RCZ and the Tundra. However, we're in the top speed section, which yeah, this is where the Fiat 500 just putt-putts along. It tries to get there if it can. I mean, I even literally drafting behind the RCZ. It just can't do it. Just can't keep up the top speed. So yeah, the Roadsters are just coming up to my butt at the end of it. And there goes one passing right by me. And the white one's trying to pass, but he went out the wrong way about it. I was trying to let them pass at the end. I was like, come on, pass me. You get the Fairway, the 8C. I think the Fairway just passed the 8C. Or not. I might be wrong about that. I can't remember. You got the Abarth, the Civic. It's cool to see the Civic outside. You got the Truno, they got the Pierce, which at the Pierce is fuel tank is going fine, not surprised, it is a hybrid. You got the Mazda Demio, which still shocks me about that car. Still shocks me. Although, if I had to say to bring back the Mazda Demio, bring back the GLX. The classic GLX is a good one. And then you got the S. Parker Tour just passing the Demio now. Just driving along. You got the Tundra. Although, I'm looking at the Tundra though, he's got a third of a tank. He's still got like another half portion of this track to go through, I will say. Or 2/3, or another third, I would say. Yeah, now on to the tough tactics of the track, which is the swings and dives with this track. Yeah, this track. Kind of the reason why I tested the Fiat was, or the reason why I brought the Fiat to this is because of this reason. See how bad of a roller coaster this section is, you know, because this is just the tough section for any cars that have poor stability. Because it makes them freak out bad. And it really kind of shows. It really kind of shows. For the most part. Ooh, almost hit the RCZ there. Gonna pass by him. Yeah, this is also the corner section too, so this is where I'm gonna get more speed. Pass by the RCZ, and then now we're doing the dash cams, showcasing all the dash cams. But yeah, I will say it is nice to look at these dash cams during the night because you actually get to see the whole thing. Because it does kind of suck when you look at the dash cams at the day because they don't light up. The only way you get them to light up is during the night. So you get to see the whole dash cam all together, which looks really nice for that car's case. Although for the Fiat, there is no light in the tech mod, or whatever it's called, techno. You know what I mean, the speedometer. Those there. And then you got the Mirax speedometer, which that thing looks insane. I gotta say, like, holy crap, that's how it was out back then. That car's case. Yeah, and then we got the Tundra, which, yeah, the Tundra's not doing so good. Got a little portion of fuel left. That can't be good. That can't be good at all. Might well lean into that. I mean, these are the selfie AIs too, by the way, because, yeah, this is the first instance we're doing selfie AI too. You'd think the selfie AIs would be a bit smart about leaning and stuff. I guess they don't know how to lean. Weird. Figured they would. Yeah, there's the Barker Mercedes just giving chase after the Demio. I guess the Demio repassed the Barker. I'm not surprised though. The Barker only has comfort hard tires, which is, oh my god. Speaking of bad tires. Speaking of tires you don't ever want to put on. It would be that. I must say. But yeah, I love the icons though. What the fuck? He's getting away from me! You got the two Guelas working with each other at the end of that. Yeah, Guela Sprint GTVs, GT7. But yeah, this will probably be one of the pedestrian car candidates in the future. Cause yeah, I am gonna aim for what feels like a pedestrian car at the end of that. Once we get to that series, but for now, just gonna be the 130 mph tryouts and the new eventual 155 cup tryouts. Yeah, get the Sprinter Truno get passed by. Is that the Civic? That's a Civic, right? Yeah, that's. Oh, there's the Tundra. Well, Tundra ran out of fuel. He's so fucked. Good God. Just so fucked. Good grief. And yeah, some of them are already fueling right now, because it seems they can't get half a tank. However, this is kind of funny. The one Abarth went in, but the other Abarth still going strong. It's like, okay, I guess he's still got the fuel, so he's going in second place now. Congrats to this Abarth 500 for now. And now looks like the Civic SI and Sprinter Truno that pit either. That's good on them. And again, there are econo boxes. They're not just sports cars, they're also econo boxes. So they hit both things perfectly right, as it should be. When it comes to these cars. Which, how much of a difference we're talking about? Yeah, I would say about 54% for the Civic's case. The Sprinter Truno's 50%. He was right on the dime. However, the Mirac Roadsters are come. Wait, did the Roadsters pit? I don't think the Roadsters pit. Oh no, they did. Okay. You got the RCZ GT1 in the back too. So yeah, all the other cars are coming back out from pitting, it seems. Except for like the Tundra. The Tundra's gonna take its time because he had to. Runs off fuel on the way there. Good God. That's just hilarious. Like I said, I'm kind of surprised for the Sophie AI. They do not know the lean factors. Like they can't lean the cars or anything. Because if you lean the cars, then that would happen. I mean, you'd be a bit slower, but at least you'd be getting there. That's the whole point of the whole lean mechanic. And it's always kind of weird that the AI doesn't use it. As professional as I slap this difficulty on, they don't ever use it. So that's the bad part. When in the future, when I get to the more fuel-hungry cars, it makes me wonder if I should keep it 6x6 or keep it 5x5 in fuel. So that way, it feels like they're on lean, even though they're not on lean. So that way they have some factors to fight against the whole lean, even though they're going faster than the lean. But you know, I'll see what I can do about that. I'll think about more on that one. But for now, definitely a victory for me at this point, because I didn't fuel at all during this. I will say, as As much as I drove, I didn't fuel at all. I will say I was going to, but I kind of had an incident. And you won't see it because I cut the portion, but I'm going to mention it now. At some point, I basically crossed the... I think I was talking with my buddy, and my brain was so mesmerized talking with him more than to pit on the last lap. So as a result, I had to lean the car once we get there. But for now, it's just me driving, you know, to the next bit. Because yeah, this car is super lean because I mean it's only 130 miles per hour. Little micro car, it should at this point. Yeah, just in like 120 there, which is pretty quick, I gotta say. Right, yeah, that's also another reason why I take draft into that, so that way the car can still keep going on the higher speeds. As high revving that was getting there. So, because if I didn't do draft, that would be the max speed right there. That would have been the max speed right there for the car. Which I don't want that. I want the draft involved too. That way the part can have a advantage in some ways. Or other cars can have advantages in that way. Because I know there's some cars that are going to be a lot less top speed, but they do have the acceleration to back that up. And we're going to get to that car after this, I will say. I'm just going to say it's America. Bring it. But for now, you got the Aber Civic Si in the front. So the Merak just passed the Truno, so yeah, the Merak should... You know, I keep saying Merak, which that is correct. I prefer to call it the Merak SS though. America just sounds better than Merak. Just like there's something wrong with that. Just saying like Merak. That's the horrible part. Yeah, this is the point where I start cutting because at this point they need to get to me, but good luck to that. And oh yeah, this happened. It's like, oh crap. Like I said, the car, it does have a loose factor, and it will try to give at some point. Yeah, now it's daytime because I decided to skip a portion because save a trip on the time and stuff. You know, and then the Merak at some point passed the Abarth in the Sprinter of the Civic, and now they're back at 6th and 8th right now. I think they should be pitting here pretty soon. The Abarth 500 just pitted. But I am shocked about the Abarth being that high up, though. That was impressive, considering the last time we saw it race at Tsukuba. However, that was the PlayStation 4 version. But with the Sophie, though, it does give a bit of a change to things. Which is a bummer, because, yeah, they did this big update, I will say, and still no changes for what Sophie can drive at the end of it. So it still can't drive the Honda M1, even though it really should by now. So I don't know what to say about that. You got the Maserati Merak, goddamn, Merak SS 1980 just giving chase now at this point. Which I'm not surprised, because eventually these guys had to fuel at some point. That was their lap to say. But yeah, another reason why I cut this track is also a long race, so it's like, oh, I probably should do that. I will say, there's one race I'm probably not going to do at all, and it's the Le Mans one, because Le Mans is just nothing but that. It's speed. No matter, even with the chicanes, I'm just going to flat out and say, speed's a big factor when it comes to Le Mans. That's why some cars beat other cars on that track, because it's just nothing but speed. There's another track that also follows that routine as well, but at least compared to Le Mans, at least that one has a shorter range to even showcase that speed. So it could be good or bad in that case. Yeah. We got the Civic Si and Sprinter Truno. Sadly, they're bumped down to 8th and 9th right now. Got the Skyline 2000 GTR giving chase at this point. Got the other Abarth 500. He's just in 11th now. So yeah, it was super impressive that Abarth that was doing really good there. The other Abarth, to say. That shocks me a lot. It's like, holy crap, that was actually a different pace. Firebird trying to give chase to the Abarth now. They got the Alfa Romeo 8C giving chase afterwards too. Well, old 1930s car beat the crap out of Firebird. We shall see. As that goes. You got a Mazda 3. Just looking about here. Yeah, because he's got those ones to chase after. I'll be surprised, but we'll see. Got the Alfa Romeo Guayos. There's G now sitting in the back. I'm not surprised, sadly. As much as I wanted to aim for higher, it didn't. I will say I don't think it fueled at all either. I will note. I don't think it did. For the most part. Yeah, S Barker and Tundra just went in. Which yeah. Beat him, Barker, beat him! However, how much of a gap are we talking here? I mean, I'm still gonna just say I think the Barker could beat the Tundra. I really think it could have. But we won't see that because I will cross the line way far. Consider I'm already like a third of a way from him at this point. Yeah, I'm like a third away from him at this point. So yeah, good luck seeing their end point. But I'm gonna assume the Tundra's gonna run out of fuel again, and then the Barker's gonna pass him. I would assume that case. And this is why you don't bring a truck to a big giant top speed track. And yes, I'm gonna say giant truck because trucks like that are fucking big. Too big for mankind that shouldn't take control of at the end of the day. Stupid cafe tax. Which is kind of cool too, because I did recently saw something, and the case I have to give Trump a gold star. He has approved K cars in America, which is very fucking shocking. So it's like he just flat out said while he was over at Japan, he saw these little cute little K cars and stuff. He's like, you know, we could have them over here too. And holy crap, I give that man a gold star for that. Like, holy crap. I mean, the dangerous factor is, of course, you know, which is, by the way, I hate to say this because this is a big excuse what most states said, because they're, just to say, I live in Iowa, but I get very pissed off the fact that Iowa thinks it's not okay to have K cars around. I cannot believe that. It's like, oh, because I was looking at guys short, you talk about 5 states, Georgia, Iowa, and like 3 others, Illinois, I believe. And these are the states that are stopping K cars from happening too, I will say. Which, you know, might still are. Which, I'm just gonna say that's bullshit, because for one thing, you guys are comparing the impact rate to a big truck, which is also BS, because big trucks need to go, I'm sorry, at this point. We do not need this much of, you know, carrying capacity to say, unless you're an electric guy or freaking, you know, mechanic guy. If you're using a truck of that size as an everyday use truck, what is wrong with you? I'll just say that. I mean, unless by fuel efficiency it's better than a mid-sized truck, alright, you got a point there. But, other to say, though, having a truck that big, Jesus Christ. Because, yeah, I'm sorry, a mid-sized truck, I'm fine with at the end of the day. You don't need that big of a truck. Just to haul things like fridge and, you know, plywood and crap. I mean, unless you use that big truck to haul your, you know, trailer and stuff, okay, I can understand that. A camper trailer, for example. But to say, though, it's like, good God, that. But yeah, they use this whole crash test as an example that, yeah, K cars can't come over here. Alright, then explain bikes then. Explain freaking four-wheelers then. Explain ATVs then. All of these vehicles I'm mentioning here have higher risk than a K car would ever give you. To say. At least in a K car, you have a box to protect you. The box is loosely, because it probably as crunched up as it can. It's a bad, unfortunate part, but, you know, it's a sad excuse. I kind of find K cars should be available here in the States at the end of the day, and I'll put my foot on it at the end of the day. I will say to that. I mean, as the saying goes, I just think that, look, if, because speaking of that Fiat Topolino, that little car is supposed to come over here in the United States, and that car is really small. Just to add. And yet, that one's okay, but K cars aren't. Like, seriously, like, where is the excuse in that, you know? But anyways, I digress at this point and get back to the race in terms of talk about. You got the, let's see, so far the Maserati Merak is in second still, which I'm not surprised. That thing's trying to get to me at the end of the day. Yeah, it really shows, especially the straightaway once I get here. He coming for me. And especially I'm leaning too, just so. Because what happened when I crossed that line, I slammed the brakes for a good second. It's like, oh shit, sir, I can get back in the pits, right? No, you can't do that. So, technically I'm giving this car, they're giving them a hell of a leeway. But you can do a full 3 laps with this car at the end of the day, if you do like a side lean. Because it's like 2.7 a lap, so that's pretty amazing for that most part. But yeah, speaking of fuel wise, it's crazy. It's a 5-star. It's as crazy as the Sports 800 for the most part. Because it's technically a bike motor, so guess what? It can go about where it pleases in the putt-putt pace. Even as tuned. Yep, so now I get into the final corners here. And the big old straightaway on the end. But yeah, the reason why I did the... Which yeah, speaking of, if you're wondering why I did the 24-hour way out than the Nordschleife way out, which yeah, I would have done the Nordschleife way out any day, is because for Sophie's AI, it's only the 24-hour way out. It is only the 24-hour way out, I was like, for the most part, but yeah. So in terms of positions here, I'm not surprised. It looks like basically kind of the same as it was at the start in some ways. Got the 2 Roadsters in 3 and 4 right now. Got the Peugeot RZZ trying to, I assume, giving chase at this point. And you got the Pro Z also giving chase. The Abar 500 tried as much as it could, but staying at 7th at this point. But the other Abarth is probably on the further back. And you got the Sprint Truno in 8th right now. And such. But yeah, overall this race was pretty fun for the most part, for a little world tour, I would say. Yeah, you just see the, yeah, I just saw that, the Merrick's coming. It's coming! But yeah, I'm not surprised. Look how fast it's going, like the 130 right there. Oh, he's coming. Well, okay, I'm getting up to the corner section though, so I basically just got him at this point. It's that straightaway where it matters, I will say, when it comes to that. There's like 2 straightaways where it matters. There's that straightaway, and of course that straightaway, which this straightaway is where the Dino got me. That's what sucked. So yeah, that's how the saying goes, and that basically wraps up for this race at the end of the day. Fiat, Pizza Fiat for the victory. Yep, so that's about wraps that for this tryouts for today, people. I hope you enjoyed what you watched here. Till then, enjoy this little teaser of the next car that's coming up, which is the Willys MB 1945, or in other words, Jeep. Till then, folks, I'll see you guys all next time. You guys take care and ciao.